the latest Dodgers trade rumors. We've got some injury updates, an update on Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Clayton Kershaw, Max Muncy, Mookie Betts. Also, should the Dodgers trade for Oakland A's outfielder DH Brent Rooker? We got some trade packages for Garrett Crochet. And who are the top 5 closers in Dodgers history? All that more coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
Dodgers win!
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball.
Grand slam! It's a double for Freddie. Magic!
They're going to make big signings. They're going to make impact trades. This is the most anticipated season in Dodgers history.
Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to the Dodgers Nation post game. Welcome to Dodgers Dugout Live. We got some technical issues that we are trying to correct, and we are back. Welcome to Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain, credential member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the #1 most viewed YouTube channel about your Los Angeles Dodgers. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, hit that like button. The only Dodgers YouTube channel that's giving away authentic Shohei Ohtani jerseys. Working on more giveaways that are coming up soon before we hit 95K. Hats, t-shirts, stickers. We're going to start working on live giveaways. So lots of stuff here at Dodgers Nation. And just a reminder that this show is brought to you by our friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs this season, from baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% off free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here. But welcome to another edition of Dodgers Dugout Live. Everything you need to know about your boys in blue in less than an hour. And you know how every show starts. Well, tonight, closer, legend, Eric Gagne will be throwing out the first pitch. They're celebrating the 20th anniversary of his 84 consecutive saves, and he will be at Dodger Stadium. And I asked you guys over on the X, who is the best closer in Dodgers history? And 34% of you say Kenley Jansen, and 66% of you say Eric Gagne. Later in the show, we're going to run down my list of the top 5 closers in Dodgers history, but a surprising list. Let's not forget Kenley Jansen has more saves than any closer in Dodgers history. But let me know down below in the comments section where you're representing Dodgers Nation from tonight. Give me those cities. Where are you representing from your jobs? I know you guys are on your lunch breaks, you're at work, so apologies to your bosses, because you got to talk some Dodger baseball, right? We got BC coming back. We got Let's Go Dodgers. Go Tani from Whittier. Yeah, comment Go Tani down below so you're eligible for our big giveaway. Vote for Teo. Yeah, we'll talk about Teoscar Hernandez and his walk-off last night, walk-off base hit to win the game in the bottom of the 9th after Joc Pederson yelled, I'm him. And so we'll start right there. That's the leadoff today. Let's get into the leadoff. So the leadoff today, we broke it down the post-game show yesterday, but the Dodgers, down to their last strike, you had Will Smith, who cranked a double there with 2 outs. Freddie Freeman gets the big double, ties the game. Then Teoscar Hernandez, he gets the base hit that wins the game. And we're going to find out pretty soon if Teoscar Hernandez is going to be a National League All-Star. Now, I made multiple different emails. I cleared my cache. I cleared my cookies. I voted for him like 100 times yesterday. Let me ask Mr. Tony Taters. Tonio, did you vote for? Looks like the producer Kim is not up and running time, but did you vote for Teoscar?
Of course, dude. I used my work email, my old college email, my high school email, dude, my burner account email, of course, 5 times a day, dude, or 5 times each for sure.
I love it. And he absolutely deserves to be a National League All-Star. Like, like we saw yesterday, big base hits in big situations. I mean, if he does not make the All-Star team, we are going to riot. We are going to have an issue because he absolutely deserves to be there. He leads the National League with 18 home runs as an outfielder. He's first in RBI with 58, has a 125 weighted runs created plus, that's 10th, and a 1.7 F4, that's good for 9th. Yes, some of those numbers say he's top 10, but a lot of the numbers that lead to all-star appearances, like leading the league in home runs as an outfielder, like leading the league in RBI, those should send you to the all-star game in Texas. So not only should he make the all-star team, we should see Andrew Friedman take this all-star break and slide a nice little contract extension over him, something between $80 and $100 million, and have him sign with the Dodgers long-term. I think he's a perfect fit. He's a great glue guy. He's great in the clubhouse, in the dugout, and he's great on the field. He loves being a part of this team, and Shohei Ohtani loves him as well. So that's a major reason why to have him on this team. But let's see, we got amen to Teo last night from Alex Arrigia. David, I like how he did it all with 2 outs. And that's what makes this team different in my eyes. This team feels like they got that, okay, we're down but not out, right? Down to our last strike, down to our last out. We are going to find a way to dig deep and get a big base hit in a big situation. And that's why I think that, yes, some people have some PTSD about what's happened the last couple of seasons, but remind yourself this: you have Shohei Ohtani and you have Teoscar Hernandez. You have different players in this nucleus that I think are going to play up in the postseason. I think that, yes, it was great what happened late. Lots of clutch base hits, lots of clutch moments, but Shohei Ohtani's home run really kind of sparked it. And Shohei Ohtani hit another home run, his 27th of the season. And we learned yesterday that Shohei Ohtani is not going to participate in the home run derby. I see a lot of Dodgers fans. I see some fans around Major League Baseball. We got show Teo the money. Yeah, Terry Davis. We'll show him the money, but first it's Teoscar Hernandez. We need to see him make that all-star team first, and then we'll get that contract figured out. And maybe it goes into the offseason. Maybe he doesn't come back, but I definitely think that he's done everything in his power to show the Dodgers that he should be here long-term, and he's already expressed interest in returning as well. We got a $10 super chat. Nothing Teoscar does let's feature that. Another Teoscar does should surprise anyone. He had 97 RBIs last year on a Mariners team that had barely 100 runners in scoring position. Yeah, I mean, look, that ballpark, T-Mobile Park up in Seattle, not great place to hit if you're a right-handed hitter. And the truth of the matter is he's right up there with Mookie Betts since the 2021 season for production against left-handed pitching. So he rakes against lefties. He's really good against righties, and he's just a dangerous hitter. The only really knock on him is he strikes out at close to a 30% clip. But no, Teoscar Hernandez is invaluable to this year's team. I would love to see him back in Dodger blue and be a part of this group for years to come. We got a $10 super chat. We got a $65 super chat. Here, you get some love right here. We got comment of the show for that one. Tom O'Gorman, 65. LFG was up at 4:03 a.m. watching the game last night. I'm in Europe, and what a game it was. So Tom O'Gorman, hey, this is not Dodgers Nation. This is Dodgers Nations with an S. And we appreciate you rocking with this over in Europe. We got Nando 390. DMAC Robert didn't throw to home plate. Is he checked out or a bad attitude? I don't necessarily think it's that. I mean, well, let's take a look, though, at the home run from Shohei Ohtani, because you see this bomb. Let's give it again. We'll give it the boom treatment. Boom! Shohei Ohtani, a majestic blast, the pose, and unfortunately, a young Dodgers fan was clunked in the head right there. Almost want to play that soundbite from Counter-Strike. Headshot. Because it definitely looked like it clunked him in the head, and there is some reports out there about how he's doing, and apparently they took him to urgent care and everything is fine. He's going to be okay. And look, I mean, you caught an Ohtani home run with your head, and look, if he's okay, this is going to be a funny moment, something to look back and say, okay, this was a memory, but hopefully he's okay. By all accounts, that he's going to be just fine. It looked like he kind of clipped it at the end, but safety first. And we'll wait for an official report, but I'm sure at this point that and you see that a lot. I mean, like especially before they added the nets, before they added those nets on the foul lines, you would see it's the funniest thing ever. I mean, everyone has their hand up reaching for it, and then nobody gets it, and then it clunks someone in the head. But hopefully he's going to be okay, and by all reports right now, he's going to be just fine. And he did make a trip to urgent care. D-Max Shoe, I like that username. I'm going to give you a fire take for that. I need D-Mac to do a shoey for that bang, bang, bang call by Joe Davis. Yeah, he was channeling Mike Breen there yesterday with the bang call. Hey, look, Joe Davis, he's top two, not two when it comes to broadcasters in Major League Baseball. I wish we could see Joe Davis broadcast every single minute of every Dodgers game all season long. That's my only complaint, because he's truly reached the pinnacle of what it means to be a broadcaster in Major League Baseball. And what makes Joe Davis such a spectacular broadcaster is great storyteller, his knowledge of the game, but also his calls in those big moments, they come from the heart. And you saw that evidence yesterday. Just an incredible call right there. And credit, Elishiva Jones points this out. Joe Davis is the best after Vin Scully. And there's a lot of great broadcasters in the history of Major League Baseball, but I think you look at Joe Davis, and he definitely is someone that's a continuation of that. I mean, he's a continuation of that lineage of great baseball announcers. I mean, Tim McCarver, Skip Carey, John Miller. I mean, who doesn't remember John Miller in his time with the Giants in Sunday Night Baseball? Bob Uecker, a true legend. Jack Buck, Ernie Harwell, Mel Allen. I mean, baseball, Harry Carey. I'm Harry Carey. I know you love Harry Carey with your days watching WGN, but Joe Davis with those shoes to fill, absolutely incredible. But let's dive into the first little news nugget, and that is that Shohei Ohtani is not going to be participating in the home run derby. Shohei leads the NL with 27 bombs this season. He is not going to be participating, and mainly it's because he had a big surgery. He had elbow surgery back in September, and he's not going to pitch this year. He's been going through his pitching rehab. Every other day, they've been going through his throwing progressions, and it started back when they were in Boston, and it started back when they had the Freeway Series back in March, and since then, he's been throwing all season long and making his way back from that injury. And Dave Roberts said the reason he came to the Dodgers was to win the championship. It's not solely his responsibility to carry Major League Baseball. He's a guy who is very in tune with his responsibility. And in fact, he started an all-star game and participated in the home run derby for the fans. And yeah, Dave mentions the home run derby back in 2021 in Colorado, where he hit 28 home runs in the first round. He lost to Juan Soto. But you know what the big difference between that version of Shohei Ohtani and this version? Well, one, he's not coming off a arm injury where he's going through a rehab process. And two, he's not playing for a terrible team. That Angels team finished in 4th place in the AL West. They lost 85 games that season. They were 12 games under 500. So, yeah, he had nothing to play for. This Shohei Ohtani is playing for a championship. Dave will go on to say he is going through rehab, and the job he signed up for is to play for the Dodgers and take care of himself the best way he can. I think any other normal situation where he wasn't rehabbing, I think he would have loved to participate. But when you layer in something that is so unique to anyone, the volume of swings, the intensity of it, it would just be a real disappointment for not only Shohei, the Dodgers, and also the fans if something were to happen during something like that, which is an exhibition. Essentially, he signed up here to help us win a championship, and nothing should get in the way. So, amen, Dave Roberts. He's got nothing to prove, nothing to show to anyone in that event, because let's win a championship. Let's put himself in the best position to have success when it matters most in October. And look, yes, Michael Jordan, he did the dunk contest twice, in 87 and 88, but in 88, he wasn't coming off a really bad injury where he was trying to rehab. So I have no problem at all whatsoever that he's not participating in the home run derby. Does any of you down below think that he should participate? We have John R saying the greatest show on earth. I'm going to give you a Let's Go Dodgers for that. Calling it now, the trash cans aren't making the postseason. I'll give you a finish him for that. All Astro slander is welcome on this channel. We got Alex PPG put CT3 in the home run derby. Maybe he'll find a swing after 100 batting practice cuts. Alex PPG, I don't know if you're not watching the Dodgers last couple of weeks, but Chris Taylor's having a lot of success. And one of the reasons why is he's flattened out the bat path. You're not seeing such an uppercut swing. Last night he had a base hit, and he's been a lot better of late. I mean, you look at Chris Taylor's numbers, and you're seeing someone that's truly turning it around to the point where, yeah, there's going to be no doubt about it. He is not going to be DFA'd. I mean, there was over 20 million reasons why he wasn't going to be DFA'd in the first place. But now that he's adding production with his contract situation, there's no doubt about that Chris Taylor is not going anywhere. So, hey, give him a lot of credit. I mean, there's a lot of players out there that if you had Chris Taylor's heart and you match it with your talent, they'd be better off. Chris Taylor dug deep, and he's digging himself out of that hole. We got Ohtani should sit out. It's not worth it considering how hard he swings. Great point right there. I mean, his big daddy hacks are up there with the best of them. We got Golf Grouch CT third base. Absolutely. Big fan of the show. And that's the thing about Chris Taylor. I mean, he's taking over that third base position at a time with Max Muncy out and with the guys that haven't produced in that role. Kevin Biggio, Kike Hernandez, Miguel Rojas when he played a couple games there. He's hitting under 200. Chris Taylor, with the way he's swinging the bat right now, gives them a better chance to put together good at-bats and make something happen in the bottom of the lineup. Chris Frostacre, I'd rather participate in the 2024 World Series. Come to the show, contender. Kelly Oshiro, Shohei Ohtani leading the league in home runs while playing injured. Yeah, not bad for an injured pitcher, right? We got CT3 is the best left bench in the league. Yeah, look, the bench situation, it leaves more to be desired, but that is you're going to see a cascading bench effect when you make some deals for another outfielder and you maneuver the 26-man roster at the deadline to get some quality there. So I think you just got to stay patient and wait to see what happens at the deadline. Philip Subia, Joc used to be him. Why were Dodgers fans so upset about that? Why were they so upset about Joc Pederson saying, I'm him? Do you guys forget that that's what you loved about Joc Pederson when he was on the Dodgers? Do you remember in the World Series? You like that. You like that. He pulled the Kirk Cousins. He pulled the Kirk Cousins. Look at producer Cam working. Oh, producer Cam's working. We are back in the mix. There's Tony Taters. There's Tony. Do you have a problem with Joc Pederson saying, I'm him?
I mean, I liked it, dude. It's all fun and games, dude. It's part of the game. I mean, anybody that's played the game when you're in a moment like that, especially playing against your former team like the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium, I had no problem with it. I'm just glad with the outcome instead, you know?
Absolutely. How about Mr. Noel? Noise by Noel. Young Lotto. Any issue with that? It's just part of the game. Makes it fun.
None at all, man. I'm all for a good time, good competition, and there's that history right there. It's good when people go at it. I don't like when fans get too sensitive and they're like, why are other players like talking mess? Like, it wouldn't be fun if we didn't see that. Like, everybody that has played sports knows that it's better when you're playing against people you know and you can talk a little bit of trash and let things take personal.
Totally agree with you. It's a fire take from Mr. Noel Sanchez. And we got a $4.99 super chat from Ozzy, says no Joc slander allowed. Look, I'm not telling anyone how to fan, right? You guys can do what you want, right? That's the beauty of the show. I hope you think is that I welcome opinions that don't match with mine, but I just want players to be authentic, and that's authentic to Joc Pederson, right? It's not like he's Jason Tatum, right? Who's Mr. Fake stuff out there, right? It's authentic to Joc Pederson. Is he him? Sure. I mean, but I think that sparked the Dodgers comeback there. We got Pearl Necklace Joc. From the Braves. What up, D-Mac? What up, Bobby McBride? Joc brought back wearing grandma's pearls as a fashion statement. Yeah, that was when he was on the Braves with the Tommy Joc chop. We got Elishiva Jones. Joc is getting older. Joc got like 10 homers, 10 former teams now. Nando 390. He's definitely moving around, that's for sure. Let Joc talk his ish. That's from Chris. We need Muncy back ASAP. Absolutely. You definitely miss Max Muncy. There is no doubt about that. Now, we're going to switch gears and talk some trades because we don't have trades day tomorrow. Guess we'll just call this Wheeling and Dealing Wednesday because tomorrow's 4th of July. You know, I'll probably still do a show. I mean, nothing going on, but I'll do it from the crib or something. I'm at the game. I will be at the game. If you're at the game tomorrow, great day. You do not. Dodger Stadium on the 4th of July is fantastic. The fireworks are incredible. I'm going to be there. Young Lotto's going to be there. Ohtani's going to be there. It's going to be a great sight. Great day. It's always a great day to be a Dodger fan, but especially on the 4th of July. We got Keith Potter in the mix. Tatum can't make up his own celebration from Paul Gutierrez. Graham Farmer says, Joc, I am him, the one who always supersizes at the fast foods. Okay, come on now. Bruh. Come on. That's not nice. Joc used to be him. Joc is a cool dude. He's a really nice guy. Jeff, Andrew Friedman should trade Gavin Lux, Kevin Biggio, Kike Hernandez to anyone for a 6-pack of Lucky Lager, a large bag of chips, the desire to win a World Series. Okay, there's some not very nice comments. So let's jump into my first trade target we're going to get in today, and that is about Brent Rooker. And if you watched my interview with USA Today's Bob Nightingale a few days ago, he said that he felt like the Dodgers would go out there and trade for an outfielder. He also mentioned them getting an elite arm, but he threw out the name Brent Rooker. So he linked the Dodgers with Brent Rooker, and Brent Rooker is a name that might not be on a lot of fans' radars because he plays in Oakland. He had his breakout year last year, but Brent Rooker absolutely rakes. And I know everyone wants Randy Arozarena, but Brent Rooker has been the superior player this season. He's been better than Randy Arozarena. He's been better than Luis Robert Jr. On the year, Brent Rooker slashing 261, 338, 515 with a 143 weighted runs created plus. He's hit 16 home runs. He has 48 RBI, and he's 29 years old. Now, that's important to me when I said at the end, 29 years old for Brent Rooker, because if you're the Oakland A's, you ain't contending for nothing in the next couple of seasons. And his arbitration number is going to go up. You're going to have to start paying Brent Rooker. So it makes perfect sense for them to move him because of the transition period that they're in. I mean, they are moving to a smaller stadium before they move to Vegas. They're going to have to pay him. He's under team control until 2028. And he's arbitration eligible, and he's going to become more expensive. This is the Oakland A's, right? This is one of the most cost-conscious organizations in Major League Baseball, and Brent Rooker makes a ton of sense. Some other things I like about him as a potential fit: a 29.9% ground ball rate. That's the 5th lowest in Major League Baseball. He lifts the ball. And that's something that plays up in the postseason. Wise man once said, if you want the dub, you've got to slug. And Brent Rooker can certainly do that. Also, if you look at the advanced stats, if you look at some of the deeper numbers as far as his contact profile, his batted ball profile, he is in the 96th percentile in expected slug at 552. He is in the 97th percentile in barrel percentage at 16.5. 93rd percentile in hard hit rate at 51.8%. If you look at sweet spot, 96th percentile. His issues he's a free swinger. He has a 34.1% strikeout rate, a 35.5% whiff rate. Both of those are in the 2 percentile. And yes, that is extremely, extremely high. But I think if you're this Dodgers team, you have Teoscar Hernandez, who also strikes out at a high clip, but you also have the Mookie Bettses, the Ohtanis, the Freddie Freemans, and Miguel Rojas is going to be batting down there in the order. Jason Hayward is going to be batting down there in the order. So you can have some bat to ball in there, and Brent Rooker his strikeout rate is the 3rd highest in Major League Baseball behind Will Benson and Nolan Gorman, but it's the upside and the pop he provides, and he's under team control for multiple seasons, and you could take advantage of an A's team that's going to be moving players. I think it's more likely that they'll move Brent Rooker than it is that they're going to move a Mason Miller. So that, to me, is what's important, is the fact that you can take advantage of an A's team. Defensively, he's -2 and outs above average, And he's played mostly designated hitter. The Dodgers have a designated hitter. What's his name again? That's right, Shohei Ohtani. Shohei, there you go. There you go. We haven't checked it with, you know what, let me break from this real quick. We got Noah. If you, Mr. NCAM_LA, Noel's friend, Noel's best friend.
I love Noel.
Noah Cameras. Noah, where
Hey,
we
Doug.
at? What is up, man? If you,
I miss you, man.
hey, man, I miss you, man. Hey, you go in the other room, I miss you already. I mean,
I won't go then.
dude, stay here, talk Dodger baseball.
My favorite thing.
If you, let me put you on the spot just a little
Oh
bit.
God, I'm gonna look up some.
You're
Brent
good at
Rooker
this.
stats real quick.
No, you're good at this. You don't need to.
Yeah.
If it's between Brent Rooker under team control until 2028, Luis Robert Jr., you have the rest of this year and 3 more years, or Randy Arozarena the rest of this year and 2 more years, who are you picking out of those 3?
That's a really tough question.
It's tough.
I think Luis Robert would go for the most, so that's what kind of leans me away from him in terms
Agree.
of what the prospect capital will be. So on here between Rooker and Arozarena. You made a great case for Rooker, but as you know, I'm always a big Randy guy. Antonio knows I'm a big Randy guy. I love guys who get better in October, who get better when the lights are brightest. And that right there is Randy Arozarena.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, he's had a tough April, May, June. But all we care about is October for the Dodgers. And I think Randy would be the guy to do that. I think the LA fan base would love him. I think he would elevate his game with the Dodgers in the brighter lights. And also he's friends with Shohei. So how could you not want that?
You know what? You made a strong case of the fire take from Mr. Noah Cameras. And absolutely, I mean, that's what you think of with Randy Arozarena, is it's the 1104 postseason OPS. Having said that, that could be the knock on Rooker, right? Play with the A's. No postseason success because he hasn't participated in the postseason. So, yeah, he's a complete unknown. And yes, I know Arozarena makes you guys Randy, but he could win Rooker of the Year. I mean, with the Dodgers. Let's be honest about that. I'm going to give myself a bro for that one. But I think, though, if you're looking at who's the better player right now, it truly is Brent Rooker. Randy Arozarena, you're betting on how he's going to perform and hoping that he kind of gets back to being that guy that he's been. And there's no doubt about it. I mean, some players, they shine in the postseason. I will say, though, we saw Corey Seager. He went into God mode in 2020. Before that, he was hitting 202 in the postseason. And then following that, he had a down year in 2021. And then last year, he came alive. So sometimes it's year to year, just how you're feeling heading into that. But Randy Arozarena on the season, he's hitting 196. Has a 96 weighted runs created plus. He's hit 11 home runs. I do think that a change of scenery is going to benefit him. But that's absolutely the tough question if you're the Dodgers. Can you handle going from the Oakland A's, where there's no fans in the stands, no pressure at all, to the team that has more pressure on them to win than any team in the history of Major League Baseball? So 2 extremes right there. I'll throw out one trade proposal, though, for Brent Rooker, because, look, it's going to cost you multiple prospects. It's going to, when you look at the team control, when you look at the year he's having, he might not even make the all-star team just because they might just get one representative in Mason Miller. But I think a deal that could get it done is Miguel Vargas, Nick Frasso, Ronan Kopp, and Kendall George for Brent Rooker. 4 players for 1. If you look at the prospect capital costs, I mean, you look at what the Marlins traded for Jake Berger, some other comps kind of out there. That's a deal that possibly could get a deal for Brent Rooker done. And any team that wants an outfielder is going to be pursuing him. But let me know down below in the comments section. Would you want to see the Dodgers trade for Brent Rooker? Who's the Rooker? Philip Slater. Go Ohtani. No way that deal for Rooker. That's from Gwen Bach. No thank you, Vargas in Vegas. That's from Dodger Dog. Here's the thing about Miguel Vargas. You guys know that Miguel Vargas is a player that I've been a fan of a long, long time ago. And he's someone that I've wanted to succeed. But it just feels like right now, the Dodgers, they have kind of made their pick. And they made the right pick so far. And out of James Outman, Andy Pages, and Miguel Vargas, Andy Pages has the biggest upside. Andy Pages has the most positional versatility and plays that center field position at an above average level. And I think he has the best, most big league ready swing, right? Now, when it comes to Miguel Vargas, I think the perfect situation for him would be to go to an organization where he's not just there playing when you have left-handed pitchers on the mound, where he's getting a long runway, because he's proven that sweet stroke he has, it can play up in the show and he can hit big league pitching. He just needs more opportunities. So it just feels like, look, you look at the roster crunch in the offseason. I'll spend a whole episode on it. But what you need to know, the Dodgers, they need to trade some guys on that 40-man roster. You have to do it. And if Miguel Vargas isn't going to be someone that they're going to move forward with and give some runway, either as a corner outfielder or give another shot at second base, I can tell you from people I've spoken to, he does not like playing third base. He does not like playing the hot corner. A lot of hot shots over there. He does not like it. So I remember talking to Miguel Vargas, and he said his favorite place to be on the field is the batter's box, right? He's a hitting first type of player. We need pitching. Pages needs better plate discipline, but the stuff is there. Who sounds like an Oakland A already? SK, I appreciate every single Moneyball reference, a top 3 baseball movie for me, so I'm going to give you a comment of the show for that. We got Vargas is a DH and will flourish elsewhere. That's from Guion Bach. Hope I said your name right. Do we see them trading Lux? Daniel Finn. If a team thinks that Lux has value and they either want to try to correct players and try to see if they can give another shot at a premium position in that shortstop, maybe they do. I think it's more likely when you look at his value right now that he'd be optioned versus trading him at this point. That really makes more sense if you were going to make any type of move on Gavin Lux. If Miguel Rojas is truly going to stay at shortstop when Mookie Betts returns, and then you see Mookie Betts playing at second base anytime you have left-handed pitching, and then when you have righties on the mound, you'll have Jason Hayward like we saw last year. We got to Philip Found. Randy in the postseason is money. Rooker isn't a needle mover for me. I don't think he'd play much if he was on the roster now. Philip Fountain. So I do agree that right now it's a tough call between those three. But let's be honest. If you could guarantee me that Rooker could perform like this in the postseason or for the remainder of the season, he's a player that really his career is trending in the right direction, whereas Randy hasn't been trending in the right direction. He did have a much better June, but like I said, if Brent Rooker played for a bigger market, had a bigger personality, right? I mean, a lot of people are caught up with the idealized version of Randy Arozarena. You think of the swag, you think of the pose, you think of what he did in 2020, but remember, organizations don't trade for players for what they have done. They trade for them for what they think they can do. We got Joe Harrington, DMAC, trade for Jazz Chisholm. Okay, let me ask Miguel Rojas. He said no. Richard Flores, I don't want any more dumpster diving specials. We need long-term solutions. We have enough stiffs on the roster. Richard Flores always coming in really hot. He had a funny super chat last night, but I'll give you that fire take action right there, my guy. Trip Morales, what would you be willing to give up for Brent? About that. I mean, you have to give up 3 or 4 players. I mean, certain guys I don't want to give up. River Ryan, based on people I've talked to, when River Ryan gets fully healthy, I expect him to be called up, because one of the big issues with this Dodgers bullpen is, on the periphery, it looks like they're performing well, which they have. They've gotten the job done. From an ERA standpoint, they've been effective, but 17th in Major League Baseball when it comes to strikeouts. You need relievers that miss bats in the postseason. I think River Ryan is a guy that can certainly do that, and he's working his way back. Justin Robleski is a guy I would want to keep on this team just because you want to keep as much pitching depth as you possibly can. So we got, come on, DMAC, too much for Rooker, Edgar, Sosa. But this is the thing. We're in overpay season, guys. How badly do you want to win the World Series? It really comes down to that. If you truly believe any of these players are missing pieces, there is a Dodgers tax out there. Okay? There is a Dodgers tax out there. What up, Paul Vaughn? Appreciate you, my guy. Always rocking with us. Let's go Dodgers. Matthew, giving up River Ryan for Crochet is a slap in the face to the Padres from Matthew. Yeah, definitely a slap in the face, a good old Tommy Pham in the face. But we got Badley, Arozarena, and Crochet. Put Landon Knack in the deal for Alvin. Yeah, a couple thoughts on Crochet. And Crochet, you could argue, has been the best pitcher in Major League Baseball this season. He's right at the top, 3.7 F4. That leads all of Major League Baseball. A 12.52 strikeouts per 9. That's tops in the sport. The home run totals under 1. per 9 at 0.89. If you look at the expected numbers, at 238 expected ERA, that's first in the sport. I mean, all the juicy and delicious advanced stats all say that Garrett Crochet has been the best and most dominant pitcher in baseball. Right behind him is Tyler Glasnow, Chris Sale, and Jack Flaherty. Guys that I would like to see in Dodger blue, particularly Jack Flaherty. Sale, of course, has had a great year with the Braves, and we'll probably see him in the postseason. Oh, God, I said we. Talking about the Dodgers. I'm thinking on the team. Okay, I'm trying to correct that. But one thing I want to say about Crochet is I'll throw out a trade package for Crochet that definitely is going to feel like an overpay, which you would have to do. But everyone out there is saying, oh, Garrett Crochet, uncharted waters, 101/3 innings. Is he going to be available in the postseason? It's too big of a risk. Yes, it's a risk for a serious contender. It truly is. But why do people think the Dodgers are risk averse? The Dodgers are not risk averse. This is the same team that traded for Tyler Glasnow and gave him a big extension before he ever threw a pitch with this Dodgers organization, knowing that the most innings that he had thrown in a season was 120 and the most starts he had made was 21. This is the same organization that made Yoshinobu Yamamoto the highest paid pitcher all time when you look at the length and the overall price of the contract in Major League history at $325 million. This organization is willing to roll the dice on upside. Garrett Crochet is the perfect example because the Dodgers know that the food at home is pretty good. They're only going to go out to eat if it's a 5-star restaurant, right? And Garrett Crochet has the potential to be that Michelin 3-star, that 5-star restaurant, right? He has the potential to be that because they know if you bring in someone that's kind of middling, then do you really think that they're going to supplant Yoshinobu Yamamoto as your game 2 starter? Gavin Stone is your game 3 starter, right? So I think if you're the Dodgers, you have to always take that into consideration. It's kind of like go big or go home, right? All or nothing for the Dodgers. And I do think that Jesus Luzardo still could be in the mix. I see him going to the Orioles. The Orioles always think they can fix pitchers. And even though he won't be available until August, I think that that makes sense for the Orioles. So I still think that Garrett Crochet should still be the top pitching target for the Dodgers, and for good reason. Bob Nightingale was on the show a couple days ago. He said that he believes the Dodgers are going to continue to have conversations and talks with the Chicago White Sox and continue to make offers and up their offer to try to get him, right? That's how negotiations work, right? You start here, I start there, and it's how close we can get to here, and then we get a Jeff Passan tweet, and he's a Dodger, right? That's what you want to see. Now, a trade package, let me know what you think about this trade package for Garrett Crochet. Josue DePaula, the Dodgers' number 2 prospect, who, by the way, just looks and feels like a White Sox player. Am I right? That's classic White Sox player. Some players just look like they play for organizations, right? Scalabrini looked like a Celtic. You know, I mean, there's certain players that just look like they belong in organizations. Josue DePaula, Miguel Vargas, Tyrone Lorenzo, and Ronan Kopp for Garrett Crochet. 4-1. That's a big package. That's what it will cost, though. That's what it will. Packages like that are what it's going to cost. Multiple. Look at the Dylan Cease deal, right? I mean, multiple top prospects. You get a big league ready player in Miguel Vargas and Lorenzo. Based on people I've talked to, they tell me that you would rather keep Cartaya than Lorenzo right now, as if you're going to keep one of those catchers. But DMAC, we need Crochet. I need Crochet like I need water, like I need oxygen. I need a dominant lefty that can neutralize Juan Soto in the World Series when we face, dang it, I did it again. The Yankees in the World Series. Okay, Mr. Cameras, Noah Cameras. You want to know about all things Dodger baseball? If you want to know about the Lakers, if you want to know about Modern Family, I know a guy.
I love Marv.
And his name is Noah Cameras. Noah, I want to ask you, the risk thing. Do you think that it's too big of a risk because of the innings? He has never pitched that many innings in a season, or do you think it's worth the risk considering the high prospect capital it would require to acquire him?
Garrett Crochet scares me. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot of innings. I just read an article on The Athletic from Jim Bowden where he said he spoke to 2 NL GMs who are interested in Crochet. Doesn't know if that's one of the Brandon Gomes or not. But he said that both of them said that they would make Crochet a reliever and then build him back up in September to then start in October. So that's how at least those 2 GMs would manage him. And I don't know, for me, it's just a risk. I mean, obviously he's having an insane year. He just won AL Pitcher of the Month, but there's a lot of risk in someone who has never thrown this many innings. And they already have that risk with Tyler Glass now. So now you have 2 guys who you're kind of risking it all with. You also have Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's never thrown MLB innings before this year. So that's 3 guys that you're kind of risking it all for in a postseason rotation. I personally don't think they should give up that much. I mean, I know it would take that much prospect capital, but that's why I'm a little out on a Garrett Crochet trade for the Dodgers.
Bold, all sensible, very pragmatic. You make a lot of sense. I do think, though, that one thing about this Dodgers organization, too, is they're willing to trade or acquire pitchers after they've had their surgeries. Yeah. Tyler Glass now, Walker Buehler, right? It's almost like, hey, you did the bad stuff. You were on the IL with another team. Now we get to take advantage of you while you're recovering and while you're at your best. I mean,
JP Fireeisen.
I mean, they rolled the dice on JP, friend of the show, great guy from Wisconsin, big Packers fan.
Huge,
by the way, huge Packers fan. Go Pack, go! But I just think that Flaherty would be a nice addition too, and I've been talking about Flaherty for weeks now and months now. It feels like as a possibility, maybe even years. But I mean, I do think that Crochet is the one that you go, wow, that's a wild card. That's a wow. Coder says, hey, D-Mac, I'm all in on being a We Guys shows. We truly bleed blue. Okay. All right. I'll give you a fire take for that. I'll give you Let's Go Dodgers for that. No doubt about that. How about you, Tony Taters? Where are you at with the Garrett Crochet trade possibility?
All the Noah made a lot of great points, but you know I'm down, dude. We need that dude in the bullpen.
You're an all-in kind of guy.
I'm all in, dude. We like you said, we have to win this year, man, dude. Whatever it takes. Miguel Vargas. I'm a we guy. It's breaking news, but whatever it takes. Miguel Vargas.
We not me.
We not me. But I liked your trade package. Josue DePaulo too. People are saying in the chat like Josue DePaulo is an untouchable though. But
see, I've heard that he is. I mean, you know what?
Tell me.
I've heard that he isn't an untouchable in the sense that he might be the one that you could look to sell high on and take advantage of that. So it kind of depends on. And look, at any of this stuff, you got to give stuff to get stuff, right? Yeah. You got to take some money out of that 401k because guess what? If they win the World Series this year, you won't care if Josue DePaulo wins 3 MVPs.
That's right.
Right? If you win this year, right? It's always about winning the damn whole thing, and then you try to win again. And with an organization that's this much pressure, I definitely think that. Blue Boat, I wouldn't trade Cartaya, Daniel Finn. Flaherty is hurt, skipping a start. They should stay away now. See, there you go. I mean, Flaherty is someone who's had a great year as far as his strikeout rate and where he's at, but I mean, there's a little bit too. I'm sure that the Detroit Tigers, he's going to be moved if he's healthy, but it's a back issue with Jack Flaherty. And he did a pain-killing injection a couple of days ago, and it's a back situation. So guess what? He's in a rental. Okay. So as long as it's not the arm, then you should be okay. So I wouldn't say that that's necessarily precludes the Dodgers from trading for him. Okay, guys. So we'll talk some more trades. I know we could do like a 50-hour show on trades, but we got Paul trade for Tanner Scott and Jazz Chisholm, then immediately trade Chisholm to the White Sox for Luis Robert Jr. Look at Paul. Look at Paul over there making some moves. Respect that. Keith Potter, Luzardo is a no for me, dog. It's a no for me, dog, too. Shout out to the great Randy Jackson. You're not going to not get Randy Jackson's autograph on a samurai sword, right? But for me, I think the Orioles are a team that trades for him. That's what the Orioles do. The second, would love if Jazz comes to LA, but Miggy Rowe is there. Bad chemistry. Jazz ain't coming to LA, man. Okay, I'll tell you that one. Rhino Ruiz, rookie is good. Rooker is good, but Randy is a proven postseason player. Look, that's the debate there. Truly, I mean, we'll wait and see about the availability on both players, and I kind of want to wait to see more from Tampa Bay and how willing they are to move Randy. But definitely natural trade partners for both the A's and the Rays with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay, we're going to switch gears to this week's injury report. And it's a long one, so buckle up because we got some good news, got some bad news, but mainly good news for the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw started a rehab assignment on June 19th. Tony Taters was there. It was a great experience for him, to say the least. And unfortunately, though, he was shut down after experiencing shoulder soreness following that start in Single-A Rancho Cucamonga. He gave 1 run, had 5 punch-outs and 3 innings of work. And Kersh was supposed to make a rehab start for AAA Oklahoma City, but due to that shoulder soreness, he was shut down. The good news is that Kersh had an injection that has reduced the pain. And also, more importantly, he had an MRI that didn't reveal any structural damage. So you don't have a setback from that standpoint. And Dave Roberts said, Clayton is going to throw a pen Wednesday, and he looks really good. I would argue he looks better than he did when he was making his way back a few weeks ago, so I'm really encouraged. Just watching him stretch it out. He stretched out Monday, came back today, and didn't feel anything. Feels good. Did again today, so I'm really encouraged about Wednesday, and at that point in time, we'll see about getting him back out on a rehab. I've never had surgery, so I don't know, Kershaw. He told reporters that. So that's the thing about Kershaw. He said, I've never had surgery. I don't know. And every step of this process is going to be a new experience for Kersh. He would go on to say, I feel like really the upward trajectory is there, and it's been really steady at this point. I don't really want to call it a setback. I just think it's just getting your feet underneath you a little bit. I don't feel like it's going to delay the process by that much. It could be part of it. It could be a little hiccup. I don't know. I was able to get some shots and feel better with it. So that's positive. Dave said that he looks better now than he did before the setback. And then 2, Kersh said he feels good and says it could be just a little hiccup. Yes, take it with a grain of salt the size of the Rock of Gibraltar because it's the Dodgers. But I think that these are forthright. And I think really the next step is you got to get back out there and make those rehab starts. I mean, he needs at least 3 rehab starts to build up to 4 or 5 innings to make his return to the mound at the big league level. And once he does that, then it becomes, okay, how does he look? What's his role going to be for this team? How quickly can he look like someone that could be a weapon for this team in the postseason? So time is of the essence, but the good news is it's positive steps forward at this point. A couple days ago, he played catch at Dodger Stadium. He said he's feeling better. So things are trending upward. But now I think the return time isn't after the All-Star break. It's at some point during August, probably the first week to 10 days of August, something around that time, if things really start to rapidly pick up. Now, next big update, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he's been dealing with that rotator cuff to his throwing arm. Dave Roberts told reporters yesterday, I think right now he's pain-free, so that's a good thing. Granted, he's not throwing a baseball. Our hope is that he starts playing catch soon. The number one thing is that he's pain-free, which is where I think he's at right now. And he was asking about a timeline. Should the Dodgers expect him back anytime soon? He said, I don't know. I just talked to him briefly in the training room. He's getting worked on. He's doing a lot better. He's doing a lot of shoulder exercises and non-throwing stuff. I don't know when that time is going to come where he's going to pick up a baseball. It'll be playing catch and then stretching it out at some point. Once he gets to the bullpen, then it starts to become more real. So it still feels like we're a couple weeks away from gaining any traction, any momentum, any clarity as to when the Dodgers will be getting back Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And you're ranking the big questions heading into the next part of the season. I'm going to dedicate a whole episode to that. One of the biggest questions, you could argue it's the biggest question, is are they going to have Yoshinobu Yamamoto down the stretch and in the postseason? Because the answer is no, then absolutely you have to go out there and trade for another starting pitcher, because this is someone that they signed to pitch on a big stage in the World Series. And even with that rocky debut in Seoul, South Korea, where he threw 43 pitches and gave up 5 runs to the Padres, he still has been great. A 2.92 ERA, a 2.66 FIP, a 1.07 WHIP, 10.2 strikeouts per 9. So he has definitely pitched very well, and you saw how he pitched in New York. That is the Yamamoto that sticks out to me. That's the Yamamoto that makes me feel like, okay, this could feel like trading for a top flight starter at the deadline if you get that version of Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who went into the Bronx and allowed no runs on 2 hits in 7 scoreless, had 7 punchies in the Dodgers 2-1 extra innings win in New York. So that's someone who he welcomed the spotlight. Now, next update, Max Muncy. Max Muncy has been dealing with that oblique injury. Mike DiGiovanna of the LA Times, he reported that he took swings off a tee, he fielded ground balls, and he did some throwing last Friday. And he's been dealing with a grade 1 right oblique strain. It's been a slow process. They moved him to the 60-day IL on June 21st, but he is starting to pick things up in his rehab. Now, the big next step for Max Muncy is, when is he going to take live batting practice? When is he going to start taking live BP and begin that rehab assignment? So he'll be back at some point after the All-Star break. I'm guessing too in early August. Next one, Joe Kelly. Before we talk about Joe Kelly, how about those jerseys? The Mariachi Joe jerseys out in Rancho Cucamonga. Me and Tony Tater's our stomping grounds, right? We should have gone yesterday, to be honest. Joe Kelly did not pitch deep into the game, right? Through 5 pitches, but man, he signed more autographs yesterday than he threw pitches. I mean, he signed autographs all day. He made that first rehab start, and he's going to need a couple outings there at the minor league level, but he should be ready to go pretty soon. We're going to see Joe Kelly back at some point right after the All-Star break, and it's not going to be before the All-Star break, but I think right after it, because at this point they're saying that he has been a little ahead of schedule. So a couple more rehab appearances and Joe Kelly is going to be back. The biggest key for Joe Kelly is keeping him back, because Joe Kelly is someone that pretty much should have his mail sent to the IL because he's lived there, because he has dealt with injuries, but he's another guy that is all about the postseason for Joe Kelly. Throwing harder, missing bats more than any time in his career last year, and that's going to be massive to get him back. Other quick ones, Brusdar Graterol. He might return at some point in August. Early June, he still wasn't playing catch. So he's basically spring training mode, right? If you're a Brusdar Graterol. So we'll wait on that one. Dustin May, to me, is the one I'm really keeping my eye on, because Dustin May has that stuff where if he's 100% healthy, he will be on this postseason roster. If you can give him enough starts and appearances to ramp up in time. And he's been throwing at the Dodgers spring training complex in Arizona. He's throwing around 90 miles per hour at this point. So when Dustin May is right, he's upper 90s. When Dustin Mania is in full effect, he's throwing 98. But they're going to make sure that this is a cautious rehab. Anytime you're undergoing your second major arm surgery, he underwent right flexor tendon UCL surgery last July, started throwing off a mound back in May. So he is definitely checking off boxes. It's really about updating his velocity at this point, continuing to progress in the right direction if you're Dustin May. And then Mookie Betts. Of course, I think this one's pretty obvious. I mean, it's not going to require surgery on that fractured left hand. He's set to miss 8 weeks. He did an interview with AM 570's David Vassay, and Vassay talked to me, felt like he was in good spirits, and he had the hand guard on. So I'm not worried about that. I think he's going to be back in August, and that's going to be major for this team. The big question for them is, where does he bat in the lineup? Is it leadoff? Is it in the 2-hole there? But we got some more super chats. We got some Trip Morales. What would you be willing to give up for Brent? We talked about that. Chris Forexer. Rooker would have been a more improved hitter in this lineup. A lot of protection. Yeah, exactly. Anytime you have more protection and you're seeing better pitches, you're going to have more success. Just ask Teoscar Hernandez, who has really set himself up nicely. Gagne brought the electricity to the stadium. Now, 50. Are we? What? How many minutes we're at? Should we push back to top 5? 53. All right, let's run it. The high 5 top 5 closers in Dodgers history. So you got some honorable mentions: Jeff Shaw, Todd Worrell. There's guys that have been closers that have had impacts on this team. But my strong consideration was, how big of an impact did you have when it came to winning the World Series? And coming at number 5 is Jim Brewer. Jim Brewer pitched for the Dodgers from 1964 to 1975, had 126 saves for the Boys in Blue. He had a 2.62 ERA in 474 games in 12 seasons. And Jim Brewer, before Fernando, he was that lefty that was throwing the screwball. He was that lefty that was going out there and dominating hitters and getting the job done. And he had double-digit saves in 6 straight seasons. So Jim Brewer coming in at number 5. Then at number 4 is Jay Howell. Now, Jay Howell was with the Dodgers from 1988 to 1992, 85 saves. But for me, his performance in the World Series is what got him on this list. He had a 7-out save in Game 4 of the 1988 World Series in 5 seasons in LA. He had a 2.07 ERA. He had 85 saves, and that was a big acquisition that they made to get themselves over the top. So you can learn from the past. You bring in Jay Howell, and he ends up having a big impact. I think some Dodgers fans from back in the day will remember the fact that he was ejected from that playoff game against the New York Mets, and he was suspended for having pine tar on his glove. But hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? Especially back in that era. But yeah, that was his definitive game, though. Game 4, 1988 World Series, a 1-run lead, and you go out there and you get a 7-out save. And now you are part of Dodgers lore forever. Then coming in at number 3, Clem Labine. Clem Labine is a Dodgers legend that doesn't get talked about enough. From 1950 to 1960, he recorded 81 saves. You're like, okay, that's not that much, but it was much different back then for closers, for relievers in that role. He had 388 relief appearances for the Dodgers, and 184 of them were for 2 innings or more. So back then, you had closers that also performed as starters. In 1956 in the World Series, where the Dodgers lost, he pitched 2 relief innings in Game 3, and then he had a 10-inning complete game in Game 6. Okay, things were different back then. But in 1955, the Dodgers' first championship, their only championship for the Brooklyn Dodgers, he had 7 relief appearances of 3 innings or more. So he made 7 relief appearances of 3 innings or more. And he did that twice in the World Series. In the 55 World Series, he had a 2.89 ERA in 9 1/3 innings, had 1 save in 4 games. And I'll read you this quote from the great Vin Scully, who said, Clem Labine was one of the main reasons the Dodgers won it all in 1955. He had the heart of a lion and the intelligence of a Willie Fox, and he was a nice guy too. So Clem Labine coming in at number 3. Now, we're at the ones where you're going to have the debate about it. Eric Gagne and Kenley Jansen. The poll I put up on the X, let's do an update. I asked you guys, who's the best closer in Dodgers history? Right now, 66% say Eric Gagne, 34% say Kenley Jansen. I'm here to tell you that Eric Gagne is the most dominant closer in Dodgers history in that stretch, but he comes in at number 2 on my list. That's an easy call for me. He had 161 saves with the Dodgers. He set a record from 2002 to 2004 with 84 consecutive converted saves. It was Dodgers history. It was stuff of legend. Some Dodgers fans get a bad rap because they leave the game early, because they want to get to the parking lot to avoid traffic. Back then, you wouldn't consider leaving because you went to watch Eric Gagne pitch. Literally, he was the biggest star on the Dodgers. When you heard the Game of Thunder, when you heard the Welcome to the Jungle, that was electric. I get goosebumps just talking about it. And I think the unfortunate thing for the Dodgers is that dominant run. He only was able to pitch 2 games in the postseason for the Dodgers in his career. He gave 1 hit in 3 innings, had a walk, and that was it. So it's unfortunate. You didn't get to take advantage of that dominant version of Eric Gagne. Didn't give up any runs, but I think that is a record that's probably never going to be eclipsed. And yes, he did admit to doing performance-enhancing drugs. There's no doubt about that. But we're talking about a closer that won the National League Cy Young Award. He won the Cy Young. So anytime you have a closer that won the Cy Young, you're in elite territory. It was a short run, in the grand scheme of things. But in his 2003 season, he had an ERA plus of 3.37. He led Major League Baseball with 55 saves. He had finished 6th in the MVP voting. That is how high he was and how he was viewed upon. He had a 1.20 ERA that year. So he was absolutely dominant. But hey, love him or hate him, Kenley Jansen is the #1 closer in Dodgers franchise history. He leads the franchise with 350 saves, has a 2.37 ERA, 1,022 strikeouts in 705 innings of work. And not bad for someone who was a converted catcher. He was a strong arm catcher that could not hit a lick. And back in 2009, I mean, they told him, hey, either you try pitching or we're going to release you. And then he turns himself into one of the best closers in Major League Baseball history. I mean, Mariano Rivera, he's by far the GOAT. Kenley Jansen was the closest thing we've seen to Mariano Rivera in his prime with the way his cutter, his bread and cutter worked for him. I think what works against Kenley Jansen is the postseason issues. You think of Marwin Gonzalez, who in game 2 of the 2017 World Series, he gave up the game-tying home run that tied at 3. You think of game 4 of the 2018 World Series, where he gave up the home run to Steve Pearce to tie it up. And he has a 4.40 ERA in the World Series. So Eric Gagne, by far the most dominant, but Kenley Jansen, people forget how unhittable Kenley Jansen was in his prime. When Kenley Jansen was at the peak of his powers, he was without question the best closer and most dominant closer in baseball during that stretch. I mean, Kenley Jansen, he had strikeout rates of 39.3% in 2012, 38% in 2013, 40% in 2015, 41.4% in 2016, 42.4% in 2017. Opponents were consistently hitting under 200 against him. ERAs were low. So Kenley Jansen, the best closer in Dodgers history. Yes, I call it the California Adventure. It did feel that towards the end of his run in LA. Did have a great postseason in 2021 against the Braves, but yeah, he probably has some Jansen cards on eBay. I like that one. Look, if I had to pick one game and have one closer in Dodgers history to close out that one game, sure, I'd go Eric Gagne all day, every day. But Eric Gagne was on PEDs, okay? And he admitted to it. Kenley Jansen, he was, as far as we know, he wasn't on PEDs. I mean, if you're lying to yourself if you can't accept the fact that that's a factor, right? But still, as dominant as he was, I still think that stretch was never going to be recreated, and it definitely gets very, very dicey in that era because pitchers on PEDs were pitching to hitters on PEDs too. So the entire thing was messed up. And look, I remember the time when Eric Gagne was a 5 ERA starter, right? And he was converted, but it's close. I love me some Eric Gagne. My childhood right there is all Eric Gagne, but Kenley Jansen, the grand scheme of things, he's someone that you could make the case for the Hall of Fame if he has 3 or 4 really good years remaining, right? So he's someone that has the totals, the save totals. He did it better for longer. It's than Eric Gagne. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Joel Rodriguez. Imagine Ohtani on steroids. That's a walk-off shot if I've ever heard one. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Hit that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.